Man, is this pack heavy. Okay. This episode I'm going to talk about bugging out. It's kind of a lot of people talk about, oh, I'm going to bug out. I'm going to bug out to my cabin up north. I'm going to bug out to my cabin, west. I'm going to bug out to the national forest. It probably is not going to work out the way you think it is, and you may want to just consider, unless you've tried it and have done a lot of practice, the best possible scenario, I think, in my personal opinion, is to bug in, stay where you're currently at, unless where you're currently at is just so horrible that then it's like, why would you live there anyways? Maybe you live in the city, but it could be worse. I wouldn't want to live in the city myself, but that's just me. Think about when I moved onto my property here. I've been here over 6 years. When I first moved here, the previous occupants were an elderly couple who I believe passed away, and that's how we ended up getting the property from. Their kids sold the property. They had lived here for 30 years. They rarely went into the woods, into the land. When we first moved here, I was everywhere on the property. I multiple times ran into other people with guns on my property, hunting, or, oh, we didn't know this was your property. Now that I'm here full time, it took quite a few years of that. Eventually, now I've got, just different things that let me know when people are on the property. I've got trails around the property. I patrol the property regularly, and thankfully I haven't had an issue in quite a few, about 4 years now. So that's pretty good with constant. But everyone that I know that has a cabin up north, out west, down south, whatever, every time they go there, they've got problems with people trespassing. So think about this. You're going to try to get out of your current location, travel a great distance when everybody else is going to do that, and you may get to your property and there may be somebody there. More than likely the roads are going to be just a nightmare. You're going to have a hard time probably getting through traffic just to get there. I mean, you remember Katrina, same thing happened. And then, like I said, when you get there, you're going to have to deal with whoever may be there. There was a good movie, I think it was called like Time of the Wolf. It was a French movie, but it was the same thing. There was apocalypse, SHTF, and this family was going to their cabin in the wilderness. As soon as they get there, boom, somebody shoots the husband because some other people took over their cabin, and then the wife and the daughter had to take off and survive on their own. They probably would have been better off staying where they were at. Any property can be defendable. How are you going to move all your food? You need a lot of water. I've carried a lot of weight in the military. Carried a lot of weight on my own backpacking, mountaineering. That weight gets heavy quick. I currently changed my day job. It used to be a 60-mile commute. I would have a hard time making that in a one day. My current job is very close. I could run home if I had to, so it's nice. But it's one of those things, the best thing to do is, my wife and I read that strategic relocation book. We thought about moving, just everything. Just, with the current things going on for the last couple of years, we drove to Montana, you name it, we went and looked at properties and finally said, our current property, we have low crime, we know our neighbors, which is one of the things I was going to say. You should really get to know your neighbors. If you don't know them already, get to know your neighbors. We've got great neighbors here, low crime. We have a water source on the property, 2 of them actually, spring-fed creek. Two of those. We have a mix of softwood and hardwood. We do wood heating in our house. We have a wood stove. Our house now has solar and backup batteries. What else do we need? You know, it's like we have our animals. We've got rabbits, bees, chickens, goats. The goats are dairy goats. Garden, you know, it's just nice. But it's I know not everybody can. I mean, it's not everybody would want this. Like all my friends are like, oh my God, why do you want to live there? You're out in the middle of nowhere. Can't, you know, you got to maintain all this land. It's not as bad as you think. It's actually quite nice. So I wouldn't go to the city. Believe it or not, I used to live in the city. But yeah, where you're currently at, I mean, you won't have to move anything. You have everything there. You may want to just consider that. There's so many negatives about trying to move. You know, my theory, as soon as you try to bug out, you're a refugee. That's what you are. And historically, look at what happens to refugees. I mean, it's just, you're going into the unknown. I remember during COVID, I had a long commute. Never once did I miss a day of work, you know, but I remember that first week with the lockdowns and everybody was freaking out. I saw tons of people with RVs and campers. I would get up in the morning at 3:30 to go to work, and it would only be me, and I would see campers, and that was like for the first week. And then after that, it just kind of died down. So a panic like COVID type thing, it was more or less, the roads were not bad, but certain areas, the locals, they were not letting people in with these RVs and campers because they were like, oh, they were trying to block the roads and block, because nobody knew what was going on. So I mean, it was a crazy time. But you know, but like Katrina, I've heard of people where family just plopped up and ended up at their house. That's another thing you gotta, you know, those people are gonna bug out to, you know, there's some family they're like, oh, we're just gonna go to your property. And I'm like, are you? You know, I'm not trying to be an a-hole, but it's like, what have you done to help me on my property? And I've got some friends that say the same thing, and they are more than welcome. They help me here. They do work here. They've got some of their supplies and food stored here, so they're more than welcome. You know, it's like more the merrier. You know, but it's and I've got family that is going to stay. You know, that will come here. So it's, but trying to move. I mean, just you may want to just rethink it. I'm going to end it there because I could just talk forever. But like I said, it's like I said, you don't want to be a refugee. You want to be in control as much as possible. And right now, you still got a lot of time to do a lot of preparedness and be ready for whatever may or may not come. One thing, I'm kind of a hard one to stop talking. It's kind of a weird balance right now. I remember Y2K. There were people that literally quit their jobs, took off, ran to the hills, and then nothing happened. And then they came back, no money, no job, you know. My theory right now is, it's pretty convincing that something may happen, but go to work. I go to work every day. The wife and I try to live as normal as possible. But at the same time, we're preparing just in case, because we don't want to be the person with their head in the sand and then all of a sudden, you know, the old saying, it was great until it wasn't. And we don't want to be caught, you know, not ready for whatever. And I mean, you can never be ready for everything. I mean, we just want to be as prepared as possible, as prepared as we can, and just try to go on with our lives. Simple people, we just want to enjoy life out in the country, you know, so, but I don't want to be a refugee. I will stay here. I have no intention to go anywhere. Yeah, maybe if a meteorite's going to hit my property, but then it's like, oh well, I probably won't leave. So, yeah, so like I said, you don't want to be a refugee. You may want to rethink your plan, or maybe I'm a complete idiot, and leave me some comments and say, hey, this is why you're an idiot and you should get, you know, hey, and don't get me wrong, I do have small bug out bags just in case we have a fire or a meteorite hits my property, whatever. you know, 3-day pack with some supplies in it just in case. You just never know. But the main plan is I'm not going to go. We're not going anywhere unless it's like a short-term emergency, you know. So hopefully this was helpful, and like I said, leave some comments if I'm complete whack job and, you know, there's some holes in the system, but yeah, I enjoy the feedback from people. Thanks.